Hi everyone, so today we're going to talk about the law of sines. Now, the law of sines is that any triangle, the ratio of the sine of the angle to the length of the side opposite, it's constant. So that means if I'm looking, let's say, at angle A, the sine of angle A is constant to the side that's opposite of it, which is little a. And that is also going to be equal to the sine of angle B to the side opposite, which is little b or side B. And then you also have the sine of angle C to the side that's opposite, which is little c. Now, something to remember is that you have in each of your fractions, you have sine all on the numerator and then the sides all in the denominator. If you decide to flip your fractions, everything then has to switch. So that means I could have my sides all on the numerator. So A and then over sine A equals B over sine B, and then C over sine C. Now, it's important to understand under which conditions you can use the law of sines. So what you would have here is you could have either ASA, so angle, side, angle. You could have AAS, or you can have SSA. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some of these questions together. Let's identify what kind of triangle we're looking at. And it's important as you do these questions, you want to wait until the very end to round, just so you can be as accurate as possible. So here you have triangle FGH, and you're given some pieces of information. So let's go ahead and we could say that angle G is going to be 124 degrees. We can say that side F is 37 centimeters. That means angle F has to be here because that's the side that's opposite. And then we are going to go ahead and look at the angle F, which is 28 degrees. And that also means that this angle is going to be H. So FGH. So you want to find the length of side G, that's our little g here, to the nearest tenth of a centimeter. So now let's go ahead and see. We have to find one of our sides. So what we can do is we could have all the sides in the numerators of our fractions here. So we can have side G over, we know is angle G, so the sine of 124. And that equals what we know. We have 37, that's my one side. And with that angle, you're going to have the sine of 28 degrees. Now what you're going to do is you have a proportion, right? So when you have a fraction equal to a fraction, you are going to cross multiply. So you have G times the sine of 28 degrees is equal to 37 times the sine of 124. Now, when we're going to go ahead and solve for G, we're going to divide by the sine of 28. So I have side G is equal to 37 times the sine of 124 degrees all over the sine of 28 degrees. Here it is very important that you are in the degrees mode. So go ahead, if you need to change it in your calculator, go to the mode button and then change to degrees. All right, now when we go ahead and find our side G, you're going to get 65.3 centimeters. Okay, in question number 2, let's go ahead and draw our triangles. So you have ABC. We'll say this is angle A because our side A is 1.4 centimeters. We have Let's say this will be B, and then this will be angle C, which we know is 37 degrees. And our side C is going to be 2 centimeters. What we want to do is we want to find angle A. So we want to find this angle right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, all right, we're going to look at our triangle. And again, because we're trying to find an angle, we could put all of the sine of our angles in the numerator. So the sine of angle A over 1.4 is equal to the sine of angle 37 over 2. Again, you are going to cross multiply, so you have 2 times the sine of angle A is equal to 1.4 times the sine of 37 degrees. We're going to go ahead and divide both sides by 2. So what we're going to do is see that the sine of angle A is equal to 1.4 sine of 37 over 2. Now, in order for us to find angle A, what you're going to do is you're going to take the inverse, right? The inverse sine. The inverse side is going to cancel out that sine there and leave us with just angle A on its own. So we'll take the inverse sine of both sides, actually, and that's going to be of this whole fraction, 1.4 sine of 37 divided by 2. Now, when we plug this all in our calculator, we will get angle A is 24.9 degrees. Okay, in this question, we're going to look at Caitlin and Brian, who are standing at a shoreline 10 miles apart. So here's Caitlin, here is Brian. They are standing on a shoreline 10 miles apart. We do have the coastline being a straight line. They can both see a boat here in the water, and we could both kind of figure out our triangle here. What we do know is that the angle between the coastline and the line between the ship and Caitlin is 35 degrees. You can figure out the angle between the coastline and the line and Brian here. This is 45 degrees. And we want to figure out how far the ship is from both Caitlin and Brian. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to first figure out and label our sides. So for the side that's opposite of Brian, we're going to put a little b. And the side that's opposite of Caitlin here, we're going to put that as a little k. Something we can also figure out is this angle right here. So this angle is actually going to be 100 degrees. And because you're taking 180 minus 35 minus 45 will get you that remaining third angle in your triangle. Okay, so let's start with side B. So side B is opposite of the angle 45. So that's the sine of angle 45. And that's going to be equal to what we know is 10 miles. And that is opposite of the angle 100. So the sine of 100. We can again cross multiply. So you have B times sine 100 equals 10 times sine 45. We can divide both sides by the sine of 100. So it's 10 times the sine of 45 over the sine of 100. So my side B is 7.2 miles. Now my side B is, even though it's B, this is technically the distance between the ship and Caitlin. So 7.2 is our distance for Caitlin. Now we can go ahead and find side K here. Side K is opposite of the angle 35. So that's the sine of 35. And that is equal to, again, something that we already know, which is side of 10 over sine of angle 100. Okay, so again, you can cross multiply. So it's K times the sine of 100 degrees equals 10 times the sine of 35 degrees. Divide, again, both sides by the sine of 100 degrees. So it's 10 times sine 35 over sine of 100. So my side K is going to be 5.8 miles. So again, even though we're looking at side K is that distance between Brian and the ship. So 5.8 miles is the distance between Brian and our ship. I hope you found this video helpful and you feel more comfortable doing the law of sines. Don't forget to like and subscribe for future notifications on other pre-calculus videos. Thanks for watching and have a great day.